The Obsession. When Love Turns into Lethal Control. Part 1. The Beginning of the End. You know, sometimes love doesn't start with fireworks. Starts quietly, almost too quietly. A glance, a smile, a message in your inbox that feels harmless. That's how it began for her. Her name was Emily Carter, 19 years old. Bright, lively, and the kind of girl who could light up a room without even realizing it. She had this way of laughing that made people turn around just to see who it was. The kind of laugh you didn't forget. But somewhere in that light, a shadow was waiting. His name was Daniel Ross. On the outside, average. The type you'd pass on the street and never think twice about. Quiet, polite, even shy. But inside Daniel lived a hunger, not for love, but for possession. And when he first saw Emily, something snapped in him. She wasn't just a girl anymore. He became his world, his obsession. At first, Emily thought nothing of it. Daniel was the nice guy, always offering to carry her books after class, staying late to help with projects, even driving out of his way to give her rides home. To Emily it was kindness. To Daniel it was courtship. Every small smile she gave him, every thank you, he stored like trophies in his mind, building a fantasy future where she belonged only to him. But here's the thing about obsession. It doesn't grow slowly. It spreads like wildfire, fast and suffocating. Daniel started texting her. Not once in a while, but constantly. Good morning, beautiful. What are you doing? Why didn't you answer me? If Emily didn't respond right away, his messages turned sharp. Are you ignoring me? Who are you with? At first she laughed it off. We've all brushed off clinginess, right? But slowly that tightness in her chest grew. She stopped sharing her location with friends because she didn't want Daniel to accidentally show up. She found him waiting outside her class, standing at the coffee shop where she usually went, even parked near her house. Emily told herself it was just him being sweet. But in her gut, she knew something wasn't right. One night she came home late. The porch light was off and the street was quiet. She was fumbling with her keys when she heard it. A whisper. Soft, low, almost like a breath in her ear. Why didn't you answer me? Her blood ran cold. She turned and there he was, Daniel, standing in the shadows of her front yard. His face pale, his eyes locked on hers. She laughed nervously, tried to brush it off. Daniel, what are you doing here? I was worried about you, he said. But it wasn't worry in his voice. It was something else. Something heavy. From that moment, Emily started pulling back. She avoided him, made excuses. But with every inch she pulled away, Daniel tightened the leash. He began writing long messages about fate, about how they were meant to be together. He'd leave flowers on her car. Notes slipped into her locker. Emails from anonymous accounts. And then, the threats came. If I can't have you, no one will. You don't know what I'm capable of. Emily's friends begged her to go to the police. And she did. She reported him. She showed them the messages, the notes, even told them about him showing up outside her home. But here's the tragedy. The police said there wasn't enough. He hasn't hurt you, they told her. It's just words. But Emily knew better. She could feel it. Daniel was unraveling. The weeks that followed were a nightmare. She'd catch glimpses of him on her street. His car parked near her job. She swore she saw him standing outside her window one night, just watching. Her friends started walking her home. Her parents installed new locks. But Daniel always found a way. Always close enough for her to feel his presence. And then came the night it all broke. It was October 21st. Emily had just left a small birthday party for a friend. She was walking across the parking lot, phone in hand, laughing as she texted her best friend about the night. Her breath was visible in the cold air. The lot was quiet, too quiet. She reached her car, fumbled with her keys, and that's when she saw it. A folded note tucked under her windshield wiper. Her stomach dropped. Hands shaking, she opened it. The words were scrawled in messy handwriting like someone had written them in a frenzy. "You don't understand. You are mine. Tonight it ends." Emily froze. Her heart pounded. And in that silence she heard footsteps behind her. Slow, heavy, getting closer. She turned and saw Daniel. And in his hand glinted something sharp under the streetlight. Emily's laughter, her light, now hangs in the balance of a single moment. And the obsession that had been building for months is about to explode into something irreversible. Part 2. When Love Turns Deadly. The night air was still. Too still. Emily's breath fogged in front of her as she clutched the note, her pulse hammering in her ears. Behind her, Daniel's footsteps echoed, slow and deliberate, like he wanted her to hear every single one. "Daniel," her voice cracked. "Please just stop." But there was no stopping him. God, his eyes didn't look human anymore. They were wild, black holes swallowing the boy next door smile she once thought was harmless. And in his hand, that knife. The kind of blade you knew wasn't there to scare. It was there to end. Emily's instincts kicked in. She ran. Keys clattering from her hands, purse slamming against her side, she sprinted across the lot. Her heart screamed louder than her footsteps, but Daniel was faster. Always just a step behind, always close enough that she could feel the heat of his breath chasing her. "Stop running," he shouted, voice cracking into something raw and feral. Emily's scream split the night. A light flicked on in a nearby apartment window. But nobody came down. Nobody opened their door. And in that silence, the world felt like it had abandoned her. She ducked between two cars, crouching low, clutching her phone in shaking hands. She dialed 911, whispering into the receiver, "There's a man, he's trying to kill me, please." And then the line went dead. She froze. Her battery had died. And in that breathless silence, a shadow fell over her. Daniel stood above her, chest heaving, knife trembling in his grip. "Why do you make me do this?" he whispered, voice breaking. "Why won't you just love me?" Tears blurred Emily's vision. "Daniel, please. You don't have to do this." But obsession doesn't listen. Obsession doesn't care about pleas or tears or second chances. It was over in seconds. A scream cut short. A struggle drowned in silence. And when the night swallowed Emily's light, Daniel Ross stood over her, victorious in the most twisted way. Because in his mind she would never leave him again. Emily's body was found the next morning by a jogger. The note still clutched in her hand. The birthday gift she'd been carrying for her friend scattered across the asphalt. The kind of scene that police officers never forget. And Daniel, he didn't run. He didn't hide. He drove straight home, sat on his bed and waited. When police stormed the house hours later, they found him calm, almost peaceful, like he'd finally completed the love story he had written in his own mind. He confessed almost immediately, said he didn't regret it, said if he couldn't have her in life, he'd have her forever in death. Chilling, isn't it? The trial that followed broke the community in half. On one side, Emily's friends and family, shattered, replaying every warning sign they had seen but couldn't stop. On the other side, whispers of sympathy for Daniel. People saying he was just heartbroken, just lonely. But let's call it what it was. This wasn't heartbreak. This wasn't love. It was control, possession, obsession. The courtroom heard every detail. The texts, the stalking, the threats, the night in the parking lot. And when the verdict came down, guilty of first-degree murder, Emily's mother wept. Not out of joy, not out of vengeance, but because no sentence could ever bring her daughter back. What lingers most about Emily's story isn't just the brutality of her final moments. It's the silence that came before. The ignored reports, the brushed-off fears, the warnings we've all heard but too often dismiss as dramatic or overreacting. Emily's story is a reminder that obsession isn't romance. It's not passion. It's a cage, one that tightens until there's no air left to breathe. And tonight, as you listen to her story, maybe you're thinking of someone you know. Maybe you've seen the signs, the constant texts, the uninvited appearances, the words that sound like love but taste like control. If that's you, don't ignore it. Don't wait for it to get better. Because love doesn't stalk. Love doesn't threaten. Love doesn't kill. Obsession does. And that's how Emily Carter's story ended. Not with a breakup, not with moving on, but with a young woman's life stolen by someone who claimed he couldn't live without her. When the jury left, when the cameras turned off, when the world moved on, Emily's parents sat in their quiet home, her empty bedroom down the hall, her laughter gone. They said it felt like time had stopped on October 21st. And maybe, in some ways, it had. But if there's one thing Emily's story teaches us, it's this. When someone shows you who they are, when love twists into fear, believe it. Speak it. Act on it. Because silence, as Emily's story shows us, can be deadly. And that is the story of the obsession. When love turns into lethal control. Thanks for watching. If you stayed to the end, it means you enjoyed our story, so please subscribe to get notifications when we post true stories like this again. And don't forget to like and leave a comment with your thoughts, or suggest true stories you want us to cover next. See you on the next one.